One afternoon, the courtroom felt tense before a single word was spoken. At the plaintiff's table stood a woman in her late 30s, arms crossed tightly, her expression sharp, controlled, but defensive. She looked like someone ready to argue every point before it was even made. Across from her sat a man in his early 40s, quieter, holding a thin stack of papers. He didn't look angry, just tired. The bailiff called the case. Kevin Morales versus Dana Pierce. Judge Judy entered, took her seat, and scanned both sides briefly. "All right," she said, "let's go." Her eyes moved to the plaintiff. "Ms. Pierce, you're suing. Tell me why." Dana stepped forward immediately. "Your Honor, he borrowed money from me and never paid it back." Judge Judy nodded. "How much?" $15,000. Judge Judy turned to Kevin. "Did you receive that money?" Kevin nodded once. "Yes." Dana exhaled sharply, as if that settled everything. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. "Was it a loan?" Kevin hesitated. "No." Dana's head snapped toward him. "That's not true." Judge Judy raised her hand. "You'll have your turn." Then back to Kevin. "If it wasn't a loan, what was it?" Kevin glanced down at his papers, then back up. "It was an advance," he said. Judge Judy tilted her head. "Advance for what?" "For a business deal," he said. "We were working together." Dana shook her head immediately. "We were not partners." Judge Judy didn't look at her yet. She kept her eyes on Kevin. "Explain the deal." Kevin took a breath. "She wanted to invest in a small import business I was starting. The money was to secure inventory." Judge Judy nodded slowly. "And what happened?" "The deal fell through," he said. "And the money?" she asked. "It was already used." Dana stepped forward again. "Exactly. He spent it, and now he's pretending it wasn't a loan." Judge Judy raised her hand again, then turned to Dana. "You say it was a loan?" "Yes." "Do you have anything in writing?" Dana hesitated. "There are messages," she said. Judge Judy extended her hand. "Let me see." Dana handed over printed texts. Judge Judy began reading. The room quieted. Kevin watched still. Dana stood rigid. Judge Judy flipped through a few pages, then stopped. Her eyes narrowed slightly. She read one line again, then another. The silence stretched, longer than expected. Kevin shifted just slightly. Dana didn't move at all. Judge Judy looked up. "Ms. Pierce," she said. Dana nodded quickly. "Yes?" "In these messages," she tapped the paper lightly, "you say, and I'm quoting, 'Don't worry, I trust you. We'll both make money on this.'" Dana froze, just for a second. "That was about the deal," she said quickly. Judge Judy tilted her head slightly. "Was it?" A pause. Dana straightened. "Yes." Judge Judy didn't respond immediately. She went back to the papers, flipped another page, stopped again, then looked up. "You also said, 'Take your time. I know how these things work.'" The room shifted, subtle but real. Dana's confidence flickered. "That doesn't change the fact that he owes me," she said. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. "It changes the nature of the agreement." Dana shook her head. "No, it doesn't." Judge Judy held her gaze. "Yes, it does." Silence. Kevin looked up now, more alert. Judge Judy tapped the documents again. "These messages don't reflect a strict repayment expectation." A pause. "They reflect shared risk." Dana's jaw tightened. "That's not what I meant." Judge Judy didn't react. "What you meant is less important than what you said." That line landed clean. The room stayed still. Judge Judy leaned back slightly. "Let me ask you something." Dana looked at her. "When you gave him the money," a pause, "did you believe there was a possibility you might not get it back?" Dana didn't answer immediately, because now the question wasn't about facts, it was about truth. "I trusted him," she said. Judge Judy nodded. "That's not what I asked." Another pause, longer this time. Dana's posture shifted, just slightly. "I didn't think about it that way," she said. Judge Judy leaned forward. "That's because you didn't treat it like a loan." Silence. Kevin didn't move. Dana didn't respond. Because something had just been exposed. Not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly. Judge Judy picked up her pen, then paused. She looked at Dana again, carefully, because there was something in her tone earlier, something too certain, too controlled. And now, it didn't match the evidence, and Judge Judy saw it. Judge Judy didn't write. She kept her eyes on Dana. "You've been very certain," she said calmly, "very clear that this was a loan." Dana nodded quickly. "Because it was." Judge Judy lifted the papers slightly. "Then why don't your own words sound like one?" Silence. Dana's lips parted slightly, but nothing came out. Judge Judy continued, her tone steady. "You didn't set a repayment date." A pause. "You didn't mention interest." Another pause. "You didn't even use the word loan." Each point landed clean. Dana shook her head. "That doesn't mean—" Judge Judy raised her hand. "It means everything when we're deciding intent." The room stayed still. Kevin watched quietly. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. "Let's go one step further." She tapped the page again. "We'll both make money on this." A pause. "That's not something you say to someone borrowing money." Another pause. "That's something you say to someone investing with you." Dana's posture tightened. "That's not how I saw it," she said. Judge Judy nodded once. "That may be true," a beat, "but it's not how you expressed it." Silence. Judge Judy flipped one more page, then stopped. Her eyes focused, longer this time. She read the line again, then slowly looked up. "Here's the problem," she said. Dana looked at her. Judge Judy's voice didn't change, but something in it sharpened. "You're not just mistaken." A pause. "You're adjusting your story." The room froze, completely. Dana blinked. "No, I'm not." Judge Judy didn't react. "Yes, you are." A beat. "And I think you know it." Dana's confidence cracked, just slightly. "That's not fair," she said. Judge Judy leaned forward. "What's not fair is coming into court and trying to turn an investment into a guaranteed return after it failed." The words landed harder than anything before. Kevin lowered his eyes briefly. Dana didn't speak, because now the line had been crossed. Judge Judy continued. "You took a risk." A pause. "You encouraged that risk." Another pause. "And now you want protection from it." Dana swallowed, but didn't argue, because the evidence had already done that part. Judge Judy leaned back slightly. "This court doesn't rewrite agreements after they fail." A pause. "It enforces what was actually agreed to." She picked up her pen. This time, she wrote. The sound filled the silence. Then she stopped, looked up. "Judgment for the defendant." Kevin exhaled quietly. Dana didn't move. Judge Judy continued. "The plaintiff has not met the burden of proving this was a loan." A pause. "The evidence supports an investment." Another pause. And investments carry risk. Silence. Heavy. Final. Judge Judy leaned forward one last time. And let me be very clear. The room didn't move. When you come into court, a beat. You don't just bring your version of events, another beat. You bring your credibility. She held Dana's gaze. And once that starts to shift, a pause. Everything else follows. Dana lowered her eyes. For the first time since the case began, Judge Judy leaned back. Case closed. The gavel came down, sharp, decisive. Kevin sat still for a moment, absorbing it, then slowly gathered his papers. Across from him, Dana remained standing, not arguing, not reacting, just quiet. Because what had just happened wasn't just a loss, it was exposure, and that was harder to walk away from. Dana didn't move right away. The room had already begun to reset. The next case waiting, the quiet shuffle of papers. But she stood there, still holding on to something that had already slipped. Kevin gathered his documents slowly, not rushing, not looking at her. He had nothing left to say, because the court had already said it. Dana finally stepped back from the table. Her posture was different now, not defensive, just quieter. As Kevin turned toward the exit, she spoke. "Kevin." He stopped, turned. There was no tension in his face, just distance. Dana hesitated for a second, then said, "I didn't think it would end like that." Kevin nodded once. "Neither did I." A pause. Dana looked down briefly, then back up. "I thought, if things went wrong, you'd still make it right." Kevin held her gaze. "That's not how investments work." Simple, clear, but it carried more now. Dana swallowed. "I trusted you." Kevin nodded again. "I know." A pause. "And I trusted what we agreed to." That line settled, because it separated two things she had blurred together, trust and terms. Dana didn't respond, because now she could see the difference. Too late. Kevin adjusted the papers in his hand. "I didn't lie to you," he said. Dana looked at him. He continued, "But you're asking the court to say something different than what we actually had." A pause. "I can't do that." Dana nodded slowly, not agreeing, just understanding, for the first time. "I see it now," she said quietly. Kevin didn't respond, because there was nothing left to correct, only something to accept. Dana stepped back slightly. "I should have been clearer," she added. Kevin gave a small nod. "Yeah." No blame, no edge, just truth. They stood there for a second longer. Then Kevin turned and walked toward the door. This time, he didn't stop. Dana watched him go, not with anger, not with frustration, just stillness. Because what had happened in that room wasn't about losing money. It was about realizing something she hadn't wanted to see. That risk doesn't become a guarantee just because it fails. Judge Judy's voice carried from behind her, calm and measured, already focused on the next case. "You can't insure a gamble after it's over." Dana didn't turn. She didn't need to, because the message had already landed. She picked up her folder slowly, looked at it for a moment, then closed it, and walked out. Not rushed, not shaken, just changed. Because sometimes the hardest verdict to accept is the one that shows you where you weren't honest, even with yourself. Dana stepped out into the hallway, the courtroom door closing softly behind her. The noise from inside faded almost instantly. Out here, it was quieter, more honest. She walked a few steps, then stopped near a bench, sat down, placed the folder beside her. For a moment, she didn't open it. She didn't need to, because what mattered was already clear. A few seconds later, Kevin walked out as well. He noticed her, paused, then walked over. Not too close, not distant either, just enough. Neither of them spoke at first. Then Dana said quietly, "I wasn't lying." Kevin looked at her. "I know," he replied. A pause. "You just weren't being precise." That landed differently. Not an accusation, a clarification. Dana nodded slowly. "I convinced myself it was safer that way," she admitted. Kevin leaned slightly against the wall. "Safer doesn't mean accurate." She gave a faint, almost tired smile. "I see that now." Another pause. Dana looked at her hands. "I didn't think I was taking a risk," she said. Kevin didn't interrupt. "I thought I was helping and getting something back." A beat. "But I never said what would happen if it didn't work." Kevin nodded. "Yeah." That was the gap, the one neither of them had filled until it mattered. Dana exhaled slowly. "I wish we had written it down." Kevin glanced at the folder. "That would have changed everything." Another quiet moment passed. Then Dana stood, picked up the folder, held it differently now, not tightly, just aware. "I'm not going to chase it anymore," she said. Kevin looked at her. "That's your call." She nodded. "It is." A pause. "But next time," she held his gaze, "I'll be clear from the start." Kevin gave a small nod. "Good." No extra words, none needed. Dana turned toward the exit. This time, there was no hesitation, because what she walked in thinking she lost wasn't what actually mattered, and what she walked out with was something she didn't expect. Clarity. Kevin watched her leave, then looked down at his own hands for a moment, because he understood something too. Not everything that feels fair is enforceable, and not everything that's enforceable feels fair. He pushed off the wall and walked in the opposite direction. The hallway emptied, the moment passed, but the lesson stayed, because in that courtroom, a lie wasn't shouted. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, subtle, almost convincing, until it wasn't. And once it was seen, it changed everything.